Sri Lanka, Namo, Namo, Namo, Namo Matra. Sundasi Parini, Suradiyati Sobhamana Lanka. Vage Dhanaya Nikamal Palaturu Piri Jaya Bhumiya Ramya. Apahata Sata Siri Sata Sadhana, Jeevan Re Matra. Namo, Namo, Namo, Namo Tare. Nallane Podi Sirani, Narakaya Unni Marmani Lanka. Yara Pugal Vaya Vaya Nadi Malal Malal Naranchore Lanka. Namadur Pugalila Meya Olivan, Namaduri Ertaye.
Arjuna and Yamuna, Paboda, get together. He'll receive can. Week by. Okay, so next one is 3 people. Come. Okay.
कर्तृभ्यो वंशऋषिभ्यो महद्भ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः सर्वोपप्लवरहितप्रज्ञानगणः प्रत्यगर्थो ब्रह्मैवाहमस्मि ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः शङ्करमूर्तिमस्माकं भवरोगचिकित्सकं सदा ब्रह्मनिरमन्तं सदात्मानन्दमहं भजे.
Je te cherche, mon Dieu, ô Seigneur, écoute-moi, écoute-moi, je t'espère, mon Dieu. Toi, Seigneur, tu es la vie, moi je
Allah'ın
n'ai.
bereketi hepimizin üzerine olsun. Öncelikle Sri Lanka'nın milli bayram gününü kutluyoruz. Burada olmaktan son derece memnunuz. Bizi davet ettikleri için kendilerine teşekkür ediyoruz. Sri Lanka'nın bu milli bayram gününün hayırlara, iyiliklere, güzelliklere vesile olmasını temenni ediyoruz. Şimdi sizlere dinimiz İslam'ın kutsal kitabı olan Kur'an-ı Kerim'den belirli ayetleri tilavet edeceğim. Rabbim tesirini hak eylesin inşallah.
නිදහස් දිනය සමරන මේ අවස්ථාව අපට අතිශයින්ම තීරණාත්මක සහ අභියෝගාත්මක කාලයකි. පසුගිය වසර 75 පුරා අප විසින් දිනා ගන්නා ලද දෙයට වඩා අහිමි කර ගන්නා ලද දේ බොහෝය. එලෙසම අහිමි වූ දේ ළඟා කර ගැනීම සඳහා ලෝක ආර්ථිකයේ සැලකිය යුතු තරම් විශාල පංගුවක් අත්පත් කර ගැනීමට අවශ්‍ය උපාය මාර්ග සැලසුම් කිරීම මේ වසරේ අපගේ මූලික අභිප්‍රායයි. ඒ සඳහා වූ නව ආර්ථික සහ සමාජ ප්‍රතිසංස්කරණ වැඩපිළිවෙල අප දැන් රට හමුවේ තබා ඇත. ප්‍රෞಢ ජාතියක් වූ ශ්‍රී ලාංකීය ජාතියේ අතීත ශක්තියින් නැවත මෙනෙහි කරමින් සහ නවීන තාක්ෂණය සමග එක්ව තරගකාරී ලෝක ආර්ථිකයේ නව ඉසව් කරා අපි කඩිනමෙන් පිය නැගිය යුතු වෙමු. 2023 වසරේ 75 වන නිදහස් දින සැමරුමෙන් ආරම්භන මෙම නව ප්‍රතිසංස්කරණවාදී ගමන් මඟ 2048 වසරේ සමරන 100 වන නිදහස් දිනය දක්වා නොවෙනස් රාජ්‍ය ප්‍රතිපත්තියක් බවට පත් කිරීම මගේ රජයේ මූලික අරමුණයි. 100 වන නිදහස් සැමරුම් දිනයේදී පුරවැසියන්ගේ සියලු මූලික අවශ්‍යතා සපිරුණු ඉහළ ආර්ථික සමෘද්ධියක් අත්කරගත් ගෝලීය ප්‍රාග්ධනයේ කේන්ද්‍රස්ථානයක් බවට පත් වූ නව ශ්‍රී ලංකාවක් නිර්මාණය වනු ඇතැයි මම විශ්වාස කරමි. ඔබගේ විශ්වාසයත් ආශිර්වාදයත් ඒ සඳහා මම බලාපොරොත්තු වෙමි. නොබැඳි නමුත් තීරක බලයක් ඇති නොසැලෙන දේශගුණික විපර්යාසයන්ට විසඳුම් සෙවීම වැනි තිරසාර අභිලාෂයන් සහිත නව විදේශ ප්‍රතිපත්තියක් අපි දැන් ක්‍රියාත්මක කරමින් සිටිමු. ලෝකයේ සියලු ජාතීන් සමග එකමුතුව කටයුතු කළ හැකි ශ්‍රී ලාංකිකයන් ලෙස නව නිදහස් වෙළඳ ගිවිසුම් කෙරෙහිද අපි නැඹුරු වෙමින් සිටිමු. ලොව පුරා වාසය කරන ශ්‍රී ලාංකික ජනතාව අපේ රටේ උන්නතිය උදෙසා ලබා දෙන දායකත්වය මම කෘතඥතාපූර්වකව සිහිපත් කරමි. අපේ තරුණ ප්‍රජාව නව ව්‍යාපාර ආරම්භීමට උචිත අදහස් වලින් පෝෂණය වී ඇති නමුත් ප්‍රාග්ධන හිඟකම ගැටලුවක්ව පවතී. අපේ තරුණ පරපුරේ එවැනි නව සංකල්ප සඳහා ආයෝජනය කිරීමේ හැකියාව විදේශගත ශ්‍රී ලාංකිකයන්ට ඇත. එබැවින් මෙරට සිටින තරුණ ප්‍රජාව සහ විදේශගත ශ්‍රී ලාංකිකයන් නව ව්‍යාපාරික සංකල්ප ඔස්සේ අනාගත ශ්‍රී ලංකාව ගොඩනැගීම සඳහා ක්‍රියා කරනු ඇතැයි මම විශ්වාස කරමි. ආර්ථිකමය වශයෙන් අභියෝගාත්මක මේ කාල වකවානුවේදී වඩාත් ඉවසීම් සහගතව සහ අධිෂ්ඨානශීලීව ක්‍රියා කරමින් මෙම නව ප්‍රතිසංස්කරණ වැඩපිළිවෙලට දායක වන ලෙස සියලු ශ්‍රී ලාංකිකයන්ගෙන් මම ඉල්ලා සිටිමි. දියුණු සමාජ ආර්ථික සහ දේශපාලන අවකාශයක සැබෑ නිදහස අත්විඳින ශ්‍රී ලංකාවක් වෙනුවෙන් අපි කැපවෙමු. රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ ජනාධිපති ශ්‍රී ලංකා ප්‍රජාතාන්ත්‍රික සමාජවාදී ජනරජය 2023 පෙබරවාරි මාස 4 වන දින.
செய்தி பிரித்தானிய ஆட்சியிலிருந்து சுதந்திரம் பெற்ற 75வது ஆண்டு பூர்த்தி எனும் மிக முக்கியமான மைல் கல்லினை இன்றைய தினம் கொண்டாடுகின்றோம். எம்மில் பெரும்பாலானோர் சுதந்திர இலங்கையினுள் பிறந்தோம் என்ற நட்பெறனை பிரகடனப்படுத்தும் வகையில் இந்த சந்தர்ப்பம் கொண்டாடப்படுவதுடன் இந்த முக்கியமான மைல் கல்லினை நினைவுபடுத்தும் வகையில் எமது தேசிய கொடி ஏற்றுவதற்கு கிடைத்தமை பற்றி பெருமை அடைகின்றோம். 1948 ஆண்டு பிப்ரவரி மாதம் 4ஆம் திகதிக்கு முன்பு பிறந்து பிரித்தானிய ஆட்சியின் கீழ் வாழ்ந்தவர்கள் அனுபவித்த கசப்பான வேதனைகள் மற்றும் உமக்காக சுதந்திரத்தை வென்றெடுப்பதற்காக எமது முன்னோர்கள் முன்னெடுத்து சென்ற போராட்டங்கள் தொடர்பாகவும் நினைவுபடுத்துவதற்குரிய சந்தர்ப்பமாக இது காணப்படுகின்றது. 1815ஆம் ஆண்டு மார்ச் மாதம் 2ஆம் திகதி எனும் சோகமயமான தினத்தில் அடிபணியும் ஒப்பந்தத்தில் கைச்சாத்திடுவதற்கு சில மணித்தியாலங்களுக்கு முன்பு பிரித்தானிய கொடி ஏற்றப்பட்ட சந்தர்ப்பத்தில் அது வாரிய போல ஸ்ரீ சுமங்கல தேரர் அவர்களினால் அகற்றப்பட்ட சந்தர்ப்பத்திலேயே இலங்கையினுள் வெளிநாட்டு ஆதிக்கத்தை மறுத்து அதனை எதிர்த்து நிற்கின்ற உயிர்ப்பு சக்தியும் தோற்றம் பெற்று விட்டது எனலாம்.
Religious dignitaries, distinguished colleagues from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Turkey, my dear honorary consuls for Sri Lanka and Turkey and other Turkish friends, fellow Sri Lankans and our future, the children. Ayubowan, Vanakkam, Assalamu alaikum, Gunaidan, good morning. It is with great pleasure that I warmly welcome you as we celebrate the historic occasion of the 75th anniversary of Sri Lanka's independence. This year, we also commemorate 75 years of diplomatic relations with Turkey, with Turkey being one of the earliest countries to establish diplomatic relations with our country as soon as we achieved independence. A nation held in high esteem by all Sri Lankans. It is indeed an honor for us to have the presence of Ambassador Ozhan Artugrad, Director General for South Asia, and other colleagues from the South Asia Division of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Turkey. I hope I pronounced your name.
Perfect.
No, it's Ozhan Ertuğrul. Okay, Ozhan Ertuğrul. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, Sri Lanka's history, as you know, had its own ups and downs. There had been times of glory and prosperity, while there had also been times of great peril, invasion, and occupation. However, the only time that our whole island nation was subjected to foreign occupation was on 2nd March 1815, when the sovereignty of our land was transferred through the Kandyan Convention to the British. On 4th February 1948, the transition of power was remarkably smooth. Looking back at Sri Lanka's progress over the past 75 years, free education up to completion of the first degree and free healthcare system in the country no doubt surpassed all others, which has led Sri Lanka to be a country with a high level of human capital and one of the best literacy rates in the developing world. Ladies and gentlemen, yet, as I take up this podium, our country is challenged yet again due to prevailing financial situation, escalated due to multiple reasons. I arrived in this country 3 months ago, and I realized that how prices of daily essentials are increasing rapidly here in Ankara, which I also experienced while in Sri Lanka. But the situation in Sri Lanka, especially for those underprivileged, rural populations and daily wage earners, are much worse. I believe all of us Sri Lankans here today are not affected by the financial crisis here in Turkey to the same extent that our fellow countrymen and women are facing in Sri Lanka. Given the economic situation in Sri Lanka, it is the aim of this embassy to contribute as much as possible to ensure that our bilateral trade is enhanced so that there is increasing access to Turkish market of Sri Lankan products, encouraging Turkish investment and trade to Sri Lanka, as well as tourism promotion. During the meeting I had with President His Excellency Recep Tayyip Erdogan, President of the Republic of Turkey, after I presented credentials, he expressed Turkey's desire to increase bilateral trade volume to US $500 million this year, noting that it was around USD 170 million in 2021. In fact, I believe that it is in the best interest of our both countries that we work with both Sri Lankan and Turkish business communities to even go beyond this target, as the potential is so vast. And I think it is something that we can achieve. Given the current financial situation, it is paramount that we promote Sri Lanka and attract trade, tourism and investment in a mutually beneficial manner, more than ever. Ladies and gentlemen, I also wish to highlight another important reason for the importance of this year for us in Turkey. As this year, Turkey celebrates its 100th anniversary of founding of the Turkish Republic by veteran Mustafa Kemal Atatürk. He laid the foundation for modernization of this country and above all, empowered women, which has no doubt has been the basis for Turkey's achieved so much in the world for its people and to become an emerging global power. When I speak about relations between our two countries, it is with much pride that I recall the contribution of my predecessors, especially Her Excellency Mrs. Bharati Vijayaratne, the first ambassador of Sri Lanka to Turkey. It is noted that herself and her father have been honorary consuls for Turkey in Sri Lanka for decades, had solid contacts with Turkish people, and thereby today I am blessed with having 8 honorary consuls for Sri Lanka in Turkey, representing the regions of Izmir, Adana, Antalya, Nevşehir, Gaziantep, Bursa, Erzurum, and Trabzon. Indeed, I take this opportunity to welcome them here today. Some of their representatives are here, and thank them for their constant support since my arrival. In partnership with the Shining Knights of Armor, I am confident that Even amidst the range of barriers, I would be able to achieve greater targets that I have set for myself in Turkey, over and above what I am expected to perform by the President and the government of Sri Lanka. Indeed, similar expansions in bilateral trade, tourism and investment with Ukraine and Georgia are envisaged, and already we are working closely with our Honorary Consul in Georgia as well as the nominated Honorary Consul in Ukraine, noting that I am also affiliated to these two countries. Meanwhile, in partnership with our honorary consuls, the embassy is organizing 4 events in Ankara, Izmir, Istanbul and Antalya initially, which would showcase a Sri Lankan food festival, a traditional dance performance, a photo exhibition and a gem and jewelry exhibition. This will be repeated in Cappadocia, Adana, Gaziantep, Bursa, Erzurum and Trabzon later this year. In January, our ombudsman came here, and with his counterpart they signed an MOU for collaboration on the sidelines of the International Ombudsman Conference. Meanwhile, we are coordinating a visit by a trade delegation connected to energy sector, collaborating with universities to train young graduates of archaeology for heritage tourism, collaboration in drone technology, cultural exchanges, bilateral tourism promotion with Turkish Airlines, series of webinars followed by business delegations both ways are some of the planned activities on cards for this year. The incumbent president of Turkey, His Excellency Recep Tayyip Erdogan, visited Sri Lanka in 2005 for the inauguration of the village with 450 housing units, Midigama Turkish village in southern Sri Lanka. This was a housing project constructed in a tsunami-ravaged area with Turkish assistance. Sri Lanka since then has been recipient of Turkish assistance through both Turkish Red Crescent and TICA in several instances when country was affected by extreme weather events. Meanwhile, Turkey is becoming a popular destination for Sri Lankan students. Currently, we have 83 students, mostly following undergraduate and postgraduate courses, with 20 on YTP scholarship program. Further, Turkey recently has opened its doors to semi-skilled workers of Sri Lanka, particularly in the hospitality sector. And I'm happy to note that during last 2 years, we saw 72 Sri Lankans gaining employment opportunities, with over 5,000 opportunities secured for 2023, with another 1,000 or so on the pipeline, including for seasonal employment. All this will have potential to bring foreign exchange, which is badly needed for our country. Sri Lanka also appreciates much Turkish support extended various UN and other multilateral fora continuously. Ladies and gentlemen, celebrating the 75th anniversary of diplomatic relations, it is envisaged to issue commemorative stamps in both countries, a publication holding fashion shows and film festivals in both countries, exchange of writers and poets, and painting exhibition by a Sri Lankan artist depicting cultures of the two countries. This year, Embassy will also facilitate the bilateral political consultations as well as economic and technical consultations to be held in Ankara. Ladies and gentlemen, the world has changed since 1948 much, and with technical advancement, changes to demographics and our lifestyles, the greatest burden has been on the natural capital. Let it be Sri Lanka, Turkey or the rest of the world. The decline in biodiversity, anomalies to weather patterns, challenges to ensure provisions of clean water, energy and uncontaminated food for human beings are the new devils we have to tackle together. It is not a fight we can win alone. Ladies and gentlemen, now I am going to speak something which is very close to my heart about climate change and environment, which I think we all need to focus. As per the projections of the 6th report of the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, it is clear that countries with a coastline will be hard hit, and both small island nations and nations with densely populated coastal cities will be mostly affected. Sri Lanka and Turkey both will be affected by these. That's where our livelihoods that depends on ocean will be challenged, such as fisheries, port and shipping, agriculture and tourism. These circumstances are forcing countries to come together to minimize and at least to adapt to evolving situations as climate change impact, which are transboundary. Given this context, Sri Lanka can be proud about contributions it has made over the decades, of course, sometimes through trial and error, to preserve its high biodiversity, genetic resources, and to increase its potential to absorb carbon, which also contributes for the common good of the people of the planet Earth, not just only those in Sri Lanka. Something that Sri Lanka can be proudly celebrate is that what Sri Lanka has achieved as a developing country in sustainable use of natural resources and mitigation and adaptation of measures to face climate change impact. President Ranil Wickremesinghe has prioritized climate change as an important element that Sri Lanka needs to focus on, and is in the process of setting up of the world's first university dedicated to studies of climate change.